Gozangpla and very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. I'm Cheku. Our top stories of the week. His Majesty the King graces the convocation of the first graduates of Gasol University of Medical Sciences of Bhutan. Cabinet to make necessary changes to the Pay Commission's report before presenting it to the Parliament. And parents put the blame for the death of their babies on the lack of infection control measures and negligence by health workers of National Referral Hospital. Now let's take a look at the details of the stories. His Majesty the King, accompanied by Her Majesty the Gelson, graced the convocation of the first graduates of Gasol University of Medical Sciences of Bhutan. More than 400 graduates received their certificates at the convocation ceremony.
His Majesty the King was ushered to the Royal Institute of Management Hall in a traditional chiptral ceremony. The program started with the traditional marchang. The ceremony was followed by the launch of university's book called The Key Moments that presents the journey of the university since its establishment in 2012. The establishment of the university is a significant step towards accelerating and achieving self-sufficiency in human resources for health sector. Today, lack of health specialists is one of the key challenges the country is confronted with. As of last year, 8 specialists finished their postgraduate medicine in various specializations from the university, while 36 doctors are currently practicing specialty in various programs. The convocation ceremony concluded with the Tashimelam and a photo session with His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gelson. Sunampem for BBS News.
The government clarified that the 4th Pay Commission's report submitted to the Cabinet is not final. The executive will review it and make necessary changes before putting the report to the Parliament for endorsement.
Foreign Minister Dr. Tandi Doji, who is also the government's spokesperson, said, while reviewing the Pay Commission's recommendations, the government is considering all feedback and comments received on it. Since the release of the report on 9th April, people have been sharing their opinions through mainstream and social media.
There will definitely be some changes, but how much changes will come, that we are still reviewing. Also, we must be sure that we cannot make drastic change. For example, we cannot put a new report. We cannot submit a new proposal, because that would mean that the Pay Commission, formation of the Pay Commission was futile.
The Pay Commission recommended revision of basic pay of public servants ranging from 14% to 29% with higher rate of revision at the lower position. But this did not go well with many public servants in the lower rung.
Although the pay increase is seen to be higher for those who are in the higher rungs, it's not true. Because if you see the overall revision recommendations submitted by the Pay Commission, the overall increase in pay as well as allowances is higher for the GSP and ESP, which has increased by 50 to 70%, whereas those who are in the top rung have increased by about 20%.
He added, most people are forgetting the additional benefits from the revision.
Most people are forgetting that the Provident Fund has been increased by 7%. That is no contribution from the civil servant themselves, but that 7% additional contribution is from the government side. So therefore, when people retire, they will get a higher Provident Fund. Also, we have included house rent allowances for those who were not eligible in the past for GSP and ESP.
The Cabinet will table the revised version of the report during the upcoming Parliament session in May for further deliberation. Minister Tandi said the government supports the Commission's recommendation of presenting the recommendations as a report and not a money bill. As for the Fourth Pay Commission, the revision of pay, allowances and benefits should be implemented from the 1st July this year. The government has kept 20 billion Newton for any pay revision in the next 5 years. For Pema, this is Sringdandu for BBS News.
The Anti-Corruption Commission is investigating an allegation of corrupt practices involved in constructing the new sewer lines in Thimphu. This is following the Royal Audit Authority's observation regarding the contract. The authority found a variation between the number of manholes constructed and the actual payments made.
The Anti-Corruption Commission is currently digging the recently blacktopped roads in the areas connected with new sewer lines last year. All manholes were buried with blacktopping. The areas include Mutithang, Taba, Langjapaka and Yanchipu. The ACC is carrying out the work to confirm the number of manholes constructed as reflected in the work report. The placement of manholes is said to be one of the main components of the contract involving different contractors. BBS, however, could not establish the number of manholes required as per the contracts and the amounts released. Meanwhile, sources said it will be the TOMDIS responsibility to maintain the roads damaged as part of the investigation. They said to serve its purpose, manholes are not supposed to be buried. Technically, the manholes are for carrying out inspection, cleaning and removing obstruction in the sewer line. The RAA audited the contracts a few months ago, while the ACC started its investigation recently. Giladem for BBS News.
Thimphu District Court has ordered the Bank of Bhutan to reinstate one of its employees and to pay a compensation of more than 22,000 Yutum. The judgment passed on 11th of this month said the employee was relieved of duties without any notification.
Kezang Wangmo was working as an officiating head in Shared Service Division with the Bank of Bhutan. She took maternity leave and an extraordinary leave for a total of 9 months in July 2017 after signing an undertaking letter with the bank. She joined the office in February last year. But after 1 month, she was relieved of her duties and her gratuity and other allowances were deposited in her account. The judgment has asked the bank to take back the amount from her account. The legal officer of the bank submitted to court that the decision was made as per the undertaking letter, and the bank had to recruit someone to fill the post as per their urgent requirement. The legal officer also said there was no responsibility relevant to her qualification in the Human Resources section where she was placed after returning from her leave. According to the judgment, the bank service rule was not in line with the Labour and Employment Act of Bhutan 2007. Therefore, the court did not accept the undertaking letter. The Labour Ministry had also directed the bank to reinstate her, but it was not followed, after which the female employee took the case to court. Dissatisfied with the district court's judgment, the bank has recently appealed to the High Court. For Changadoji, this is Pasang Doji for BBS News.
Dissatisfaction in accessing banking services was the main criticism from tourists who visited the country last year. This is according to the Bhutan Tourism Monitor Report of 2018. The report was compiled by surveying tourists using administered questionnaires at various exit points in the country.
With more than 28% of tourists expressing dissatisfaction, access to banking system was one of the most dissatisfied services during their stay in the country. The tourism exit survey in the report states that some visitors were completely dissatisfied with the limited number of exchange counters, point of sale and poor ATM services. It also pointed out that more than 16% of visitors were not happy with the communication services, while close to 14% of visitors were not satisfied with toilet facilities in the country.
We have realized it's our own people, Bhutanese, who don't really help us clean the toilets, some people don't flush properly, some people even smoke inside the toilet, and some people even don't listen to people who are managing toilets. So that's been one of the challenges. The other challenge is, always looking up to TCB. If there's something wrong with TCB, the toilet, they look up to TCB. So that's been a challenge for Tourism Council of Bhutan in terms of keeping their toilets clean. We admit, as I said, that we need more number of toilets, but our biggest challenge has been finding good people to manage toilets and taking ownership of our toilets.
However, in other services and facilities, more than 80% of the visitors indicated they were satisfied. Among the 6 attributes used to measure visitors' satisfaction, value for money topped the list among international tourists, meaning they felt the services availed during their stay in the country was worth the money they paid for. For regional tourists, guide services had the highest score, followed by accessibility to services. The Tourism Council of Bhutan surveyed more than 3,500 visitors. More than 274,000 tourists visited the country last year, of which 71,000 were international tourists. The Bhutan Tourism Monitor 2018 report also revealed the country's festival as one of the main attractions for tourists. This is Sonam Chodan for BBS News.
As a part of the detailed project report of the Sunkosh hydroelectric project approved by the governments of Bhutan and India in 2017, a team from relevant stakeholders met with the people of Dagana and Tsirang. The public consultation meeting was as per the clearance requirements of the National Environment Commission.
This video is the first outline of the Sunkosh project that the people are seeing after over 3 decades of talk. According to the finalized detailed project report, the main dam will be constructed at Karmaling Gyeok, while regulating dam will be constructed near Dilhamizingka town. The backflow of the river from the dam would travel back up to 45 kilometers, reaching till the Chanchi Bridge in Tsirang. Sunkosh project, which is estimated to cost around 150 billion mutam, would be the biggest project in the country and even in the region.
If you look from its size, I think we are talking about 2,585 megawatt, and you can imagine the manpower requirement, the capital resources requirement, expertise requirement. All the things have directly or indirectly contributed, that we have to take a step-by-step approach in coming up with this Sunkosh project.
It now depends on the 2 governments to start the construction.
So right now the newest development is India Power Secretary is here. So he will be having discussions with our senior officials in the government. And from our side, implementation agreement draft is ready. And so it is only up to now to governments to now, if they wanted to take this Sunkosh forward. From the Department of Hydropower side, we remain ready, fulfilling all these clearances and all these requirements of the environment and all the social issues and all these things.
Meanwhile, the people are looking forward to reap the benefit from the upcoming project.
We have been waiting for the project to begin for a very long time. We met with officials several times and we gave them our statements and agreements. We are located in a remote place and we agreed to help the project. I was told that the road would pass through my land, but I am excited. I am planning to construct a house and start up a shop.
We heard about the project when we were small, but this time we are convinced that it is coming soon. For that, we are very grateful and delighted. I am a shopkeeper and we are hoping for better business once the project starts.
Government of India would be financing the project on debt-equity ratio of 70-30. That means 70% of its total cost will be on loan and the rest would be as grant. Once the project starts producing electricity, Bhutan would earn more than 30 billion mutam every year. This is Namgye Wangchuk for BBS News, Chirang.
Shortage of cooking gas has hit Panbang in Jamgang hard. It has been about 3 months since the town started facing the problem.
Besides the daily life, the shortage has adversely affected business. In villages, people have resorted to the conventional practice of using firewood.
또 안에는 아직 탑신에 베더위라.
그다음에 강일 누가 주라?
강일 두마테 남에서에 라카다 놀라.
다우숨디지 조일라. 다우숨베 강렌다 당아지 셰미와야 같이 자상 나로니 자강지 수니디기 데 남에서에 강일 루시슈니라.
다라갑지 땡아시기 다 게스
We cannot depend on using electrical appliances since the power supply is erratic, especially in summer. If the situation continues, life would be difficult here.
We need to increase the cylinder quota for Panbang Tungkak to about 1,000 cylinders. This is considering the increase in population and also the people of Fogya works within its administration.
The long LPG supply of Panbang receives 180 cylinders every month.
We asked the official at the depot in Gelifu about getting refilled cylinders, but they said our yearly quota has decreased. As a result, there is a shortage of LPG cylinders everywhere.
For now, it is not sure when the problem would stabilize. For Pema Kiladem, BBS News.
The neonatal intensive care unit of the National Referral Hospital in Thimbo has come into the limelight again. 8 infants reported died within 24 days at the unit, which the parents claim are because of the lack of infection control measures and negligence by health workers. The incident occurred in the months of March and April. A similar incident took place last year where 11 babies died.
Except for a few health workers, the parents shared, most of them are negligent of their duties. Some of the health workers are so caring, but some of them seem to be quite careless, negligent, and even difficult to approach them. All the parents are informed and advised to maintain hand hygiene with thorough rinsing using soap and water, and also advised to use hand rub or hand sanitizer. I found poor hand hygiene among staff members, especially the staff nurses. They often touch seriously ill children, and without even applying hand rub, they touch other children, which I felt is a source of infection. Some parents also complained that medical trainees attached to NICU are not confident enough to handle infants. This, the parents said, could also spread infections. The hospital, through a statement emailed to BBS, said the deaths of babies are not because of the lack of infection control measures. The hospital stated that it has improved drastically since the initiation of quality improvement. The hospital said that only 7 babies died in the NICU and that all the babies were born preterm, which means babies born before 33 weeks of pregnancy. The statement also mentions that since the National Referral Hospital is a teaching hospital, it has lots of trainees who are trained in the hospital. However, the hospital said there are rules and regulations in place for the trainees and they work under the guidance of trainers. Some parents who talked to BBS said most of the infants died with similar symptoms. They said it could be due to spread of infections among infants. One of the parents also said doctors are not seeking parents' consent while taking the babies for intubation. Against this, the hospital clarified that during such times, which are emergency situations, there is no time to seek permission from parents. They said at such times a doctor is bound to perform his duty with the best interest of the patient. The hospital management clarified that all seriously sick babies and mothers with pregnancy-related complications are sent to the hospital and babies are mostly delivered through cesarean section. They said babies born preterm and born to mothers with pregnancy-related complication are high-risk babies and develop complications, and many such babies do not survive. For Pema Sewang, this is Pema Harden, BBS News.
The budget for the Pema Gasol Zong construction has now escalated from the approved budget of 530 million yutum to 610 million yutum, and this is mainly due to the changes in the structures of the construction, calling for an additional budget. The cost estimation and proposals have been submitted for approval to the Division for Conservation of Heritage Sites.
The construction work of the new zong is in full swing today. The project office has already spent 469 million yutum from the approved budget as of March. Today, 25% of the construction work is yet to be complete, for which there is a budget of only 60 million yutum. And as per the project manager, the budget is not enough to complete the project.
And additional budget requirement is mainly due to deletion and inclusion of Ziri and Utsi respectively. Just recently, the project team with close consultation and guidance with the Division for Conservation of Heritage Sites staff prepared additional budget requirement details of new 80 million. This detail is present with head office, and this will be submitted to the Minister of Finance, GNSC, to other approving authority for final approvals.
He further added that they will make use of the leftover budget for the construction work until additional budget is released.
And with this budget, we will be able to finish main structures only. Thereby, the installation of Sertu, Gelsen, and construction or building of a statue, and or again installation of Chung, Chuza, Chuluk, Chusin, Kichupata will have to be provided, should be provided with additional budget, which is not included in this 80 million.
The construction of the new Pema Gasol zong started in 2012 and was expected to be complete by June 2018. However, change in the design of the zong increased their project cost. The zong is now expected to be complete by June next year. For Dochi in Pema Gasol, Pupkem for BBS News.
If everything goes according to the plan, Bhutan could have its first sports TV channel, but this is expected to happen only by 2025. The FIFA in AFC-funded project will be engaged in broadcasting live coverage of sports as a television program in the country.
Bhutan Football Federation, who will run the channel, says the project is currently in the planning stages.
We are in the planning process where the Asian Football Confederation and FIFA are supporting us to have Bhutan's first sports TV channel in the country, because it's very difficult for us to, like with the one broadcaster here in the country to broadcast, to give a coverage to sports, especially football and other sports also.
To make it happen, the Federation has started training the media team with various technical and marketing related skills. At the same time, the AFC is also helping the Federation get in touch with 2 international consultants with regard to technical support and developing marketing strategies. However, BFF says it will not be an easy task, especially considering the complex government procedures and lack of market.
Our plan, VFA plan, was to come up with sports TV by 2025, which has been mandated by AFC to come up with the sports channel. And so there are a lot of plans they have put it in us, but I say it's very difficult in Bhutan to come up with a sports channel because the market is very small and the human resource that we have is very limited, and we don't have much trained personnel to come up with the contents. But I'm very hopeful that by next 2 years we might have a little bit shape of coming up.
For now, Bhutan Football Federation has written to the Ministry of Information and Communications expressing the need for a sports TV channel in the country. The Federation is also preparing a proposal for the project, which they will submit to the ministry very soon. As per the draft proposal, the channel will be called Bhutan Sports News. As a pilot project, Bhutan Sports News will initially cover and broadcast all the sporting events happening in Thimphu, Paro and Punakha. This is Pasandoji for BBS News.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Until next time, good night and goodbye.